Hello there. I will be teaching you how to make origami roses for a track sale in February. All proceeds will go to Santa Fe, Bali. So, first of all, what you need is a piece of paper. We recommend using red first because red is thicker, pink is thinner, so red is going to be easier to fold. And go ahead and fold it diagonally just to check if everything lines up perfectly. Sometimes there will be a little bit of overhang, and that's when you know you need to shave off a bit. So what you need are your hands, a piece of paper, and a metal ruler, or even your fingernails. That's just to make your folds very deep. So you run it along the edge of your folds always. So go ahead and fold it diagonally both ways. Make sure everything lines up perfectly. And this is what you should have at this stage. Basically just an X. So then go ahead and fold it halfway. Fold it in half. Everything lines up perfectly. Fold it in half both ways. And so now what you want to do is fold to the halfway point that you've just made to split your paper further into equal sections. And now we split the paper even further. So fold to one of the lines that you just made. You're making equal lines that are split equally apart. So you fold to the last line you've just made as well to split that middle section into two as well. And you always use your fingernail or a ruler to always make your lines even more deep. And you do so on the other side as well. And you'll know if you've done something wrong because all the lines are supposed to be spaced evenly apart. Now flip it and do it all again. This part of the process is just to make a grid filled with even squares because this will be your benchmark, your guide later on when you're folding other parts of the rose. And if you don't get this part right, for example, like not folding deep enough, you're later on you're gonna have a bad time when you're trying to follow the lines of the grid. However, you won't be able to find the lines, so. Alrighty, this is what you should have at this stage. Now, what you want to do is rub it real good. Figure out which side is rough and which side is shiny. Shiny side will be smooth, rough side will be rough. Or you could look at it. But I can never tell, so. So, turn it rough side up. Now, in the four corners, notice there are 2x2 squares. Now fold them diagonally, 2x2. just like so. Now, take one of the corners that you've just folded and fold it all the way to one point. Make sure everything follows the lines that you've made on your grid. Make sure the sides line up with the corners of the squares on your grid. So basically everything just follows the grid. And now do so on all 4 sides. And this is what you should have at this point. Also, please excuse my drawings. They're not drawn very well. So now what you want to do is make a mini square in the middle of your square. So I did it a different way. So follow the drawings that I've drawn here. So you have to fold it up, and you only fold the bottom of the little triangle. You don't fold the sides. And what you're doing here is making a tiny square. And now at this point, you may pinch your tiny square out. Just use a few fingers and go along the sides of your tiny square. Never make new lines, you always follow your old lines. And you see here, I'm not pinching it out because I'm lazy, but it worked for me. However, I wouldn't take that chance, so you guys should pinch it out. It's always much easier if you pinch it out. And now you just basically make it flat. Everything, make it flat. And you see these little flaps. They always go to your right. So you have to turn it to your right. And other side as well. So if you don't turn it to your right, your rows will be mirrored. And I have no idea how to do a mirrored rows yet. Alright, so now you flip one of the flaps over, and you'll notice there are lines intersecting with that little flap. And so you go to the second intersection down, second one, and what you want to do is fold a diagonal from that intersection to the corner of that flap all the way down. So you only fold that diagonal, just like I drew in that drawing. You don't fold all the way down the flap. You just bend the paper. And you always want to fold to the very corner. You never want to have a lot of overhang or anything. And you do so on the left side as well. Second line, second intersection down, fold to the corner. And this is a very crucial step of the rows because later on, these lines won't be apparent at first. However, later on, you'll notice that your rows will get a little bit messy. And so you flip the rows over and you refold these lines because what the paper wants to do is fold to a different line. And you want it to fold to these lines that you've just folded. So make sure to have them accurate and make sure to have them deep. And now you just fold the top flap down on the left side and you open your rows up. Open it up. Make it super flat. All the folds folding just the way they should be. Turn it over. And you'll see these little canals. And in these little folds, in these divots, what you want to do is pop a shape out. And so you just put a few fingers underneath and then pop this shape out. And then what you want to do once you pop that shape out is just redefine it, make it more defined. You never make new lines again. You always follow the previous ones of your grid. Put your middle finger underneath the paper and put your index and thumb on top just to pinch that shape out. Make the lines reappear. And you do so on all 4 sides. And so now you see in the middle it's kind of messy. So this is the part where you go over and try to pinch out the lines that you made earlier. So the rose wants to fold to a different line. That line is longer. And you'll always want to fold to your shorter line that you made earlier. So just pinch those out. Again, you don't pinch all the way down. You just pinch to the part where you stopped folding. And see, look, the middle of the rose is much cleaner now. It'll fold the way you want to. And now take the corner of the shapes you popped out earlier and fold it diagonally. Middle finger on the bottom, index and thumb on top, and just pinch out a diagonal, just like so. And now what you want to do is bring that diagonal, while pinched, to the diagonal of the other square, of the corner of the next square over. And what you want to do is pinch that closed as well. And then make everything flat. Fold it. And then next, you bring that fold, those 2 points folded, to the opposite corner of the next square over. And then the bottom should make a point. And the under flap should just fold to become a square. Again, never make new lines, always follow your grid. And make everything as flat as possible. And so you repeat on all 4 sides. So the way I filmed this video for you guys is I put a stool on top of my table and I'm doing the rose right underneath the stool within the legs. So sometimes I'm not able to see which way I'm making the rose. So it may be difficult for you guys to see as well. I put my phone to record right on top in the little hole on top of the stool. And so I kept all this footage for you guys, just so you guys may see my process. But however, later on, it gets more clear because right now the rose is folding on top of when I'm trying to make folds. And that's very difficult to see, but don't worry. There will be clearer footage later on. Always, when you feel things are getting messy and not folding the way you want them to, turn it over, refold the earlier folds that you made. You repeat for all 4 sides. And just so you guys know, everything in this rose should be something resembling a triangle or a square. You never make shapes that are not regular, per se. And this is precisely why your grid at the beginning was so important and you had to fold it down really well. If you didn't fold it down really well, you would not be able to see your lines right now. and all the steps that I've just spouted about folding to the next square over would be obsolete. Always make your shapes very pointed, very edgy, to the very edge of your square over. Now feel free to make the video slower on 0.75 speed because I've just sped it up for you guys. It's on 2 times speed right now. Now, once you've made all your folds, you must grip the side of your rose kind of like holding a cup. Because this is when you want to make all the folds go underneath each other, to scrunch together, to fold a rose. Hold it like a cup. You never want to crush your rose. Don't hold it like a death grip. Be delicate with it. Make sure all the folds fold to your previous grid lines. Everything should snap together. And make the top just a bit smoother, rounder. Run a finger along the edge just to make it smoother. Now turn your rose over, and you'll see there are a bunch of squares extending off of the rose. You never fold new lines on these squares. They should snap back to your original grid lines. They should look like squares. And you just redefine all of them around the rose. And so you'll notice, extending off of these squares, you'll have one part of the square that connects with the rest of the rose, but another flap that does not. And so you fold that flap over, and you should have a triangle-esque shape, a square that's been diagonal halved. And then you go around folding all of them. And then after you get these triangles, and then what you want to do is fold them over upon each other one at a time, folding the sides into a square-like shape. And then for the last one, you just want to tuck it right underneath. Alright, that's the bottom closed. However, you'll notice it's trying to pop out. It's not staying. And I can never get my roses to stay after I fold all the flaps down. So what do you do at this point? So you connect the corners. So at the corners, connect the dots, basically. Make a straight line from corner to corner. Fold the bottom into a square-like shape. Just pinch it out. And then you'll see it stays now. So now you have a rose. However, it's not done. You need to finish the finishing touches on it. So I never finished the finishing touches on my first 20 or so roses. However, it gets easier. I just really disliked doing them for some reason because I'd always manage to crush the rose in one way or another. However, what you want to do is just take the petals you made earlier and then you bend some of the paper over and then you make a really delicate fold right there. Make it really deep You don't want it to just flap over again. And the biggest pitfall with these finishing touches is that you crush the rose. Like I said earlier, the flaps will get crushed. So you always want to make your fold on the first try. You never want to like undo it and redo it, because that makes the paper ugly. And don't be shy about it. Don't make tiny folds. Make a fold from the very edge to the very middle, kind of. Be generous about it. The big folds look nice. And so on the bottom tiny triangles, you want to pull some over, and you'll feel a bit of resistance, but that's fine. Just don't rip it. Try to fold it over on itself. And do it on all four sides. And once you're done that, you've made your rose. Good job. Always try to make roses to the best of your ability. When we take your roses, they always have to pass a quality inspection. So, we'll know. And also, when you're done all your roses, just hand it back to me or Mimi in a bag and label it with your full name, number of roses created, and we will add those to your hours. Just hand it off to us in a bag. So that's it. Good job, guys. Good luck rose making.